Wichita housing forecast for 2025 is what we're going to be talking about today. Before I get into all that, please like, comment, subscribe, share. All those fun things really help grow the channel and support local small businesses in Wichita and the surrounding community, myself and all the auxiliary ancillary services that go with it. But I'm going to share the report from WSU Center for, I'm going to butcher it, so I'm just not even going to try. Let me just pull it up. So this is the Kansas housing market forecast from WSU, and where they come up with these things. People are way smarter than me, but then I help interpret it and I use it day in and day out in the field. And then obviously I work with the public, and I'm one of the people that are providing the stats from this thing. So if you watch all the way to the end, I'm going to go over what they say here and then give you some of my key insights, strategies, like observations from working in this industry day in and day out, and then what I see for 2025 so you can plan for that, whether you're buying or selling or whatever it is that you're wanting to do there. Some of these things are kind of just fluff, filler words, that kind of thing. But one of the biggest things they look at is like just how well is the economy doing? How well is the jobs report doing? And what you'll start to see is the jobs report, which is the first one, U.S. employment growth, also combined with consumer inflation, what the cost of things are, is where mortgage rates can be affected with everything. So the better job you're doing, the higher the interest rates are going to be, because basically they say people can afford it. People can buy it. If we're making more money, we have more jobs. People have more cash to pay for a mortgage on everything. But this is, I think, one of the key indicators to look at with interest rates is why they're somewhat important, but they're also somewhat not. Because at the end of the day, people always move for life reasons, money and love usually. And one of the most surprising statistics is that 33% of all houses in the US are paid off free and clear. So mortgage rates don't matter when it comes to houses that are paid off free and clear. When you're dealing with all cash, mortgage rates don't matter. There's another 33% who have more than 50% equity. So half of their house is paid off. So those mortgage rates don't affect those people as much as somebody who is 100% financed or 95 or 97% financed in that. Who mortgage rates really affect the most are first-time home buyers. But why first-time home buyers are so important is because the first-time home buyers buy the house, the first one, to then have that person sell to buy the next one, who has to sell that one to buy the next one, and it's a trickle up effect is what it is. So as first-time home buyers buy houses, the whole thing starts to transact and turn over, because ultimately that equity that you have when you own it free and clear or 50% doesn't mean anything if you can't get the new guys going in the process, in the game of owning a house and paying those mortgage rates and interest rates. Ultimately, equity is only worth something if you cash it out. And that's why people are so sensitive to mortgage rates, is even if you don't have a mortgage on your house, looking at the big overall picture of how this affects you is why you want to pay attention to this from not just a personal real estate perspective, but from an economic perspective. And we won't even get into it, but that's where it starts to get really political as far as changing the interest rates, policies, job growth, inflation, all those things go with that. But that's a whole nother subject that a lot of economists do not agree on. But at least this gives you an idea of these smart guys' best guess. I think, but hopefully you can make that connection of why this stuff matters if you're looking at it from why do I need to even care about this or look at it. Big thing they look at is building new houses, and then obviously the number of home sales. If you scroll in on this and look at it, you can see pink is the Wichita area, blue is the whole US. In 2020 and 2021, we had 11,494 units. 21, we had 12,152. In 2024, we had 9,360. 2023 was 9,461. And for 2025, they're predicting about the same. And keep in mind, this is number of sales. This isn't price. This is number of sales. So that just means the number of transactions going on is still consistent. That's still a good sign. And it's really not that much lower than 2020 and 2021 in the grand scheme of it all for the Wichita area locally. And then if you look at new home sales, construction, if anything, I'd say those are going up when you look at the US and the blue. But then as far as the Wichita areas, but remained fairly stable, fairly stagnant, about the same. I mean, minus 0.1% for 2024, plus 4.9% in 25 isn't really that significant. If anything, they kind of trailed back in 2023 on it all. So classic Wichita, very stable when it comes to anything going on here. But as far as home price appreciation, boil down this whole dang report if you want to. they're looking at 8% appreciation for 2024 and 7.7% for 25. This is where I generally say Wichita appreciates about 6 to 8% on average year over year. So if you plan to live in a house for 3 to 5 years, you can expect about a 6 to 8% return. That's not a terrible return on your investment. There are other ones that are better than that. But as far as where you're putting your money, it's not a bad place to put your money. It's a storage of value, and it's almost like a forced savings plan that makes you put a certain amount of money away every month into your house is where it's going. And all that. You can see the freak of a situation we had in 21 and 22 with 14% appreciation and then 11% and then 10% in 2023. And then if you add in 2020 also, that's like 25, 35, that's like 42% appreciation in 4 years, which is pretty wild to think about how much it's increased. You're probably happy as hell though if you bought a house 4 to 5 years ago, because you got to participate in that appreciation, and you got to experience the effect of that. That's the thing about real estate investing and buying a house, is that the longer you own it, the better it gets. And so the longer you take to make the decision to buy the house, the worse it gets, is the other side of that equation that most people don't take into account, is the painful side of that situation. So the longer you hesitate, the longer it sits, the worse it gets, type of a situation. So typical house appreciation is 7.7%. What else do we need to go over in this report? If anything, this gives you an idea of the Kansas housing market activity as far as sales and permits go. And that's all of Kansas. Home price appreciation, really just another way to look at it. Same chart. If you really want to get down and look at, and by the way, if you want this report, I'm happy to email it to you. Shoot me a message at the link below and I'll send it your way. But if you look at Kansas statewide, 2023, we had 35,000 units, 24 was 34,000 units, 25 was 36,000. You come down to our area specifically in Wichita, 21 and 22, we had 12,152, then 10,570, then 9,461, and they're projecting 9,360, 9,550. So in a lot of ways, fairly stagnant as far as number of sales go, but then appreciation by 7%. A lot of the ways, that's what we want to see in Wichita. That's what we typically see in Wichita, is stability. Yes, you have some growth, but not too much growth. And so it's a very safe place to move, to live, to raise your family in, to establish your career, your life, whichever you're looking at. And that's really what you're doing when you're buying real estate, is you're buying into the city and the state and the country. And that's ultimately what appreciates, not necessarily the house. The house, we want to make sure it looks good, it fits you well, the layout's there, there's not a ton of major problems like the roof, the foundation, the major mechanicals, all those horror stories that people are scared of. That's where the contractor background comes in really well, and the construction background, to see how bad things really are, or if they are or not, come with that. So there's 3 insights I was going to give you at the end of this, which, by the way, the rest of this is just the promotional sponsor thing, so nothing significant to see there. So there's 3 things that I was going to provide you as personal insights from being an agent that works in this field regularly, day in and day out. And one of that is that, yes, the home sales are somewhat constipated, is what I like to call it. Stalled out is probably a better way to put it. And part of that is because of the higher interest rates, but this is where cash and equity are king. Kind of like I was mentioning before, 33% of people have their house paid off free and clear. Interest rates don't matter as much when you're buying in cash. There's a ton of people that I help sell from other larger markets that will sell for 600, 700 out there, come to Wichita, buy for 300, 400 cash, eliminate their mortgage payment completely, easier pace of lifestyle, much more time, much more family oriented, community oriented, and you just are more abundant in all your resources that you want to have. So when you're coming from those markets selling to our market buying cash, and you're doing it because your equity like that ultimately overcomes a lot of these interest rate problems and issues going on with everything. And I mentioned this one before too. People are always going to be moving for life reasons, no matter what. And that's what dictates why people move and buy and sell. Is usually it's money or love is one of the things that they're moving for. Either job relocation, they got an inheritance, they lost their job, or they want to be closer to family, or their family's coming to town. One of those 2 reasons is usually why people are moving, and that will continue to go on for the rest of humanity. And ultimately, it's our job to provide the services to help them in that consideration from the human side of things, but then also the construction side of it all with the houses and in the real estate services. And it's the service that we provide ultimately that this industry has shifted to, as far as who can provide the best level of service. I personally love working with people relocating to Wichita, and then when it's time to resell that house, and 3 to 5 years down the road, that's usually where my listings come from. And there's my business model. There's my plan. You guys can steal it. You can have it. I'm not really scared to tell you what my strategy is because it works. So, but yeah, people are always going to be moving for life reasons. And this third one, I've definitely really started to notice this in 2024 and then definitely going forward in 2025. The cute houses sell. The cute Instagram worthy houses sell, and the ones that have clear value adds are selling. Everything else is sitting longer. And I think this is a hard reality that a lot of people are having to face and learn through difficulty, is that houses don't just fly off the market like they used to. And honestly, that's pretty normal. It's not necessarily meaning there's anything wrong with the house, anything wrong with your agent. It just takes longer to find that one right buyer to come through. And if you're not willing to lower the price, then you just have to ride it out for that one right buyer to come through that's going to give you the price that you want. That, or you lower the price, because usually we can guarantee you the marketing, we can guarantee you advertisings, eyeballs. If the showings aren't happening, that's the market telling you you're overpriced, or you just got to ride it out till that one right buyer comes through, or launch this thing right from the start, stage it, take great pictures of it, market it, advertise it. And the ones that are really cute, like Instagram houses, are the ones that we're seeing still do really well, sell quickly for top dollar. And then the ones that have clear value adds, as far as like finishing out a basement, adding in a bedroom, a bathroom, something like that, where people can see the vision of a better house and some equity gains and what's there with that. So those are my 3 personal insights from being one of the top agents in the area. I've got over 400 5-star reviews. I'm sorry, I've done over 400 transactions. I have over 150 5-star reviews. Not quite everybody is either willing to write a review or too busy. They just forget, and I don't want to nag them and bug them with all that. But those are my 3 insights from being an operator in this business pretty regularly, day in and day out. I'd love to talk with you and work with you, see if we're a good fit for moving to the area or just getting to know real estate, possibly selling your house. But appreciate you watching as always. If you could, please like, comment, subscribe, share. All those fun things help grow the channel. But appreciate you watching and listening if you made it all the way through this, and we'll talk to you soon. See ya.